A postseason flop, a sweep, a demolition on the ice. The Tampa Bay Lightning have made NHL history for the wrong reasons this postseason. Florida is just 1-5, while Alabama is 2-4. This week, however, in their midweek matchup, the Gators did come away with a win against the in-state rival Florida State Seminoles. They'll look to continue that momentum going into this weekend's matchup. I'm outside the Stephen C. O'Connell Center where the Gator gymnastics team is wrapping up practices for the week before heading to regionals. It was announced on Monday the team will travel across the country to Oregon State to face teams like Boise State, Denver, Washington, and Oregon State. That's right, Sarah. The foundation is called Friends of Jacqueline, and they pair kids specifically with brain tumors to college teams. The Gators softball and gymnastics teams have adopted kids, and now a club team has been given the same opportunity. The University of Florida Club Lacrosse team has adopted 2 new faces to join their team, brothers Canarius and Ezekiel Woods. After Canarius spent time at Shands getting treatment for a stage 4 brain tumor, a social worker suggested their mom, Sharmika Woods, connect with a certain foundation.
She was like, hey, I have this foundation. I think it would be like you and the kids will love. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm down, whatever. So I emailed them and it went from there.
Friends of Jacqueline pairs kids with brain tumors with college-level sports teams. Canarius was diagnosed at 2 years old and has been in remission for 4.5 years. Although the lacrosse team enjoys having something greater to play for, it would not have this opportunity without a man named Dennis Murphy. Back in 2005, his daughter Jacqueline would get encouraging texts from collegiate lacrosse players while she waited for chemo treatments. It was during a routine visit when Murphy had the aha moment.
Jacqueline was basically sitting in hell and she was oblivious to where she was because she was text messaging the players in Chicago. And that's when I said we have to get all these kids a team. They all need a team. They need a distraction from being in the hell.
Flash forward 13 years from that day, Jacqueline is now a survivor and Friends of Jacqueline is on its 816th adoption. To play in the moment and live in the moment has and always will be Friends of Jacqueline's goal. Some might not be able to keep up with Canarius' high energy, but the fact the lacrosse team allows him to be around means a lot to Sharmika.
To have someone to let him be him and express himself, it's doing a lot. It's doing a lot.
Thanks to kids like Canarius, these Gator players now know there is more to life than lacrosse. And when Murphy gets to see it in action,
that warms your heart.
And it's not just his heart, but everyone else's around.
So it's pretty powerful to have a team, and that's the magic of Friends of Jacqueline.
For now, Canarius and Ezekiel will cheer and continue to live life while inspiring others to do the same. Right now, Canarius has an iron overload in his blood, but his yearly MRI scans have shown no signs of tumors. Both brothers are excited to watch the lacrosse team this upcoming season. Live from the newsroom, Amanda Cheney, WUFT Sports. Just this past Wednesday, the Florida Gators hosted their annual Pro Day. 17 former Gator football players were in attendance. Names like Juwan Taylor, Ja'Kai Polite, and Martez Ivy all showcased their talents to NFL scouts. All 32 NFL teams were represented at Pro Day. One of Florida's key ingredients this football season was defensive coordinator Todd Grantham. Now he could be flocking north to Cincinnati for a job at the NFL. Just over a year ago, USA Gymnastics head team doctor Larry Nassar was sentenced up to 175 years in prison for sexual abuse. As a result, USA Gymnastics decided to partner with Safe Sport, an organization who provides training to create a safe environment for athletes. A gymnast mom, Kendra Willamy, has always felt her daughter was safe in her gymnastics environment, but she understands that's not always the case.
I think that moving in the direction of monitoring the interaction between the coaches and the athletes and making sure that there's always parents present, and it kind of protects everyone, and I think it's definitely the direction they need to move.
The training local coaches were required to go through were 3 30-minute online sessions. Here on Safe Sports' website, they state training is offered both online and in person. However, USA Gymnastics has not made it a requirement that club gyms attend in-person training sessions. Local coach Casey McLaughlin thinks that's what's missing.
The coaches need to know more, and there may be some workshops or clinic or more physical components that I think should be implemented. Because right now it's just another course that us as coaches took.
These training sessions are designed to cover all aspects of abuse, but McLaughlin says this was not the case.
The 2 main things I got from it were sexual misconduct and harassment. However, it's called Safe Sport Training, so I do feel that was a little vague considering that they really focused on those main 2 topics because of everything that's recently happened.
A study done by the Minnesota Amateur Sports Commission found almost half of both male and female athletes have been emotionally abused while participating in sports. And another local coach, Courtney Gauger, says this needs to be the focus.
I think physical and behavioral harassment, like yelling at the kids, basically bullying them, I think is more pertinent. So I definitely think that they should harp more on that, not just the sexual misconduct part.
As a coach, McLaughlin is happy something is being done, but hopes it continues to improve.
I believe in time it will provide peace of mind, but right now I feel like there's components missing and that it's not being done in the most efficient and effective way.
It's a positive USA Gymnastics has implemented a policy for its gymnasts. However, there are still questions that coaches feel need to be answered. Amanda Cheney, WUFT News. Continuing a stint of non-conference games, the 6th-ranked Gator softball team will host Bethune-Cookman tonight. Prior to Florida's series this past weekend, the Gators only scored a combined 13 runs in the last 5 games. With some lineup changes over the weekend in the series against Mercer, the Gators put together 19 runs on 19 hits. Some of those changes included Jade Caraway and Hannah Adams moving from the bottom of the lineup to the number 1 and 2 spot. And Gator home run leader Kendall Lindemann switched from the 2nd spot into the cleanup position. Amanda Lorenz, who typically hits in the leadoff spot, found herself in the 3 hole this weekend. With all the lineup changes, Lorenz says she is happy to see her teammates get new opportunities.
I think whatever is going to benefit the team sounds great to me. So especially if we have Jade and Hannah getting on base the way that they did this weekend, I think we're going to be really successful. I love seeing my teammates succeed and seeing them put in more pressure situations, and I think it was really good for us.
First pitch for tonight's game is scheduled for 6, and we'll see if Kendall Lindemann can continue her home run streak as she's hit homers in 4 straight games. Switching over to high school sports where baseball is in full swing. After picking up 2 wins last week, the Buchholz Bobcats moved to number 15 in the state. Last night, they hosted a conference game against the Claremont East Ridge Knights. All the runs in the game were scored in the first and second inning. In the first, the Bobcats got on the board early with a run. Then, in the top of the second, East Ridge tallied 8 runs with the help of 3 Buchholz errors. The Bobcats looked to pick it back up when they scored 3 more runs to close out the second inning, but in the end, they fell to the Knights 8-4. With the win, East Ridge now evens out its record to 5-5, while Buchholz is now 8-2. There were a number of other local area baseball games last night as well. The Oak Hall Eagles beat Bell with the final score of 12-7. Eastside fell to North Marion 7-3. On the road at Union County, Newberry fell 8-4, and PK Young shut out Interlochen with 16 runs. Over on the other diamond, Buchholz softball also played last night, hosting Lake Mineola. Junior outfielder Kayla Parra carried the Lake Mineola Hawks. She finished the night perfect at the plate, going 4 for 4 with 4 RBIs as the Hawks beat Buchholz 9-7. In other high school softball matchups last night, final scores weren't so close. Chiefland dominated Newberry 17-2, and Hawthorne fell to Williston 20-5. Bradford came away with a 17-1 victory over the PK Young Blue Wave, while the Gainesville Hurricanes shut out Ocala Vanguard 10-0. All right, guys, Pro Day was today. What are you thinking about Jawan Taylor?
You know, Jawan Taylor, I heard he's a first-round draft pick for the NFL.
Interesting note about Jawan Taylor. I actually went to middle school with him. He is one of the most friendly guys I've ever had the chance to be a part of his wonderful family.
And thoughts on Ja'Kai Polite?
Kind of disappointed with him, to be honest with you. Thought he'd be a first-round draft pick, but Pro Day wasn't good. Combine wasn't good. He's going to slide.
I know, especially after his really good season he had this past year. We were hoping for better.
Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate it as always.